Hello, my name is Ashley. Welcome back to Media and Makeup, where I talk about things occupying space in my brain while simultaneously putting things on my face, two of my favorite pastimes. Today, I'm going to start by talking about Anyone But You, the new rom-com starring Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, because I recently saw it with my sister on Christmas Day, and it just had me thinking about the state of the rom-com of today. And I'm also going to start off with my eyes because I want to try and do like a fun eye look. This is the inspiration. We're going to see what we actually come up with. And let's get started. So initially, like many people, my speculation with the film started with the just trailers and marketing surrounding it. I think even before any trailers came out, everyone had already seen like the behind the scenes pictures of like Glenn and Sydney on the boat and stuff. There were already rumors coming out about like apparently their chemistry is so strong that like Glenn's girlfriend at the time was like uncomfortable with what was happening and they broke up. And so a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, like I guess these two are like acting a bit too well together to the point that like real life people's feelings are getting hurt. And so I feel like that drew attention to, of course, the film and people just wondering about how their performances would be. And then the first teaser trailer came out, and I personally was confused because it had this like euphoria, like dramatic music, and it looked like this was some like thriller, and I was like, I thought this was a romantic comedy, like where's the light and fun like energy? And so then this got me thinking like they're really just trying to like misdirect this whole movie so people are kind of like confused and don't really understand what's going on. But then the full trailer came out and it was obviously like once again clear what the trope was. I honestly thought that they were like using takes in the trailer that were like worse and didn't really show off like the chemistry that they had together as a way of just once again trying to get people on Twitter to talk about it, to like go see the movie, because something still just seemed off. Like it just seemed a little bit like flat for a rom-com. And so that brings us to the movie itself. Ben and B, which are their respective character names, they have like a really good date, but then one little miscommunication leads to them hating each other, and then they don't see each other for, I honestly can't remember if it's months or years. Side note, Glenn Powell's character is supposed to be like really rich and stuff, and he has like a really nice apartment, which is why I'm confused as to how the miscommunication truly happened in the first place. Like, of course the movie has to movie, but I'm like, you live in this nice apartment and you're telling me that you can just open the door and like peek inside and hear perfectly from the ground floor like what, like Sydney Sweeney was outside and was like going to walk back to his place, but his friend had left the door open so she can perfectly see inside them talking about her. And I'm like, what sort of building is this? But that's not the point, I guess. They hate each other, but then everyone who's a part of the wedding party is like, oh, we need them to get along so that way, like, this weekend can go smoothly. So then everyone's trying to, like, get them to be together, and then B's parents invite her ex, and she's, like, not happy about that, so she's like, maybe we should just, you know, pretend to actually get along, that way we can give everyone what they want. I will say I immediately left the theater like enjoying what I just saw. I enjoyed what I saw on screen. But then upon further looking into it, I didn't know that the director was Will Gluck, who did Friends with Benefits and Easy A, which are like two rom-coms I really like. I was a little bit shocked because I was like, I feel like we could have been a little bit stronger than this. And a lot of people are making the argument of like, oh, well, it's because like two hot people are the main leads. There always has to be like some conventionally unattractive person in a rom-com, which I don't think is true at all. Like both of those movies that I just mentioned, it's like both of the people are cute. I don't think that was the issue. I think it ultimately just comes down to like the writing. And I also felt like at times Sydney and Glenn just like weren't fully committed to the bit. Like There's a scene where they all go hiking, and this is obviously when they're trying to pretend to, you know, be getting along and be like feeling each other and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, like we should probably, you know, like cuddle, and like I should probably like, oh, like touch your butt and stuff like this. And it's like, obviously a part of the script is they're doing this against their will, but it almost felt like you could see through that, and like you felt like them cringing at the actions that were like on the paper. And for me, it just like took me out of it a little bit, because I'm like, you're like, I know you're not supposed to be wanting to do this, but it's like, it looks like you don't want to do this movie right now. Like, it looks like you regret signing a contract right now. Also, I think a miss for me was kind of like the callback sort of thing. Like, they had a lot throughout the film, you know, it's like, oh, he says he can't swim, and then he like jumps in the water to save her, and like the thing with the highly caffeinated Australian coffee. But I felt like at the end, where it's supposed to be like, oh my gosh, he's gonna do the thing to like get her, you know, like in Easy A, it's like the boombox outside of the window, and like in Friends with Benefits, it's like the flash mob. I have to say, I mean, I know they talked about Sydney Opera House, but when he was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do, I was like, what? Like, I didn't think that the mode of getting there would be another callback, and I kind of wish they didn't redo that, just because, I don't know, like, I felt like that was overkill. Like, I like the first moment when they, obviously, like, when they got rescued together, and, like, she sang Unwritten to him so he'd, like, feel, you know, better and stop panicking. But I don't know. I feel like the ending just didn't hit the same. But I don't know, like, it kind of just seemed like by that point of the movie, they were both, like, not as invested in it anymore. But I will say things that I liked about it. I did really like the soundtrack. I think The Spins by Mac Miller was playing, like, during the title card. I loved that. They had to pay respect to Australia's main pop boy, and they played Troye Sivan, Got Me Started, and, like, a really cute scene. They also played my favorite Still Woozy song, Lucy. Not during any pivotal scene or anything. It's literally just when they're, like, walking down the hallway, but they both look really good, and it brought tears to my eyes, because there is nothing more special than hearing one of your favorite songs unexpectedly in a movie. Ultimately, I did like it. The ending was sweet, and the credits montage of, like, everyone singing Unwritten was great. I wish we had a stronger, like, we're so back rom-com, sort of rom-com, but, you know, I'll take it. I feel better about my eye makeup already now that I have concealer on. Moving on, in the spirit of talking about romantic pairings, I know some people won't agree with me, but I'm going to be talking about Sydney and Carmi from The Bear. Because if we're talking about chemistry on screen, these two cannot be excluded from the conversation. And I will say, I am usually thinking about Sydney and Carmi from The Bear, because I love that show. But it's been heavy on my mind because the Golden Globes just happened this past Sunday, and The Bear won 3 of its 5 nominations. It got Best Comedy, and also Io and Jeremy won for Best Actor and Actress in Comedy. And I cried, I did. And every picture and video and vantage point that is still circulating on Twitter, it's just too much for me. I admire them so much, and I was rooting for them. And I'm just so happy. And I'm looking forward to just more of award season. I felt like the Golden Globes overall were pretty good, besides the host, but that's neither here nor there. And I'm not going to be talking about the entire show, but just some of the discourse that surrounds Sydney and Carmi, because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about them. I'm rooting for them. Obviously, I'm rooting for them in the show to become a thing at some point. I truly believe it is a slow burn that is slow burning, and they are end game. But that doesn't mean that I'm ignoring the truth and the facts of the matter. Like, the facts are, Carmi needs a therapist, first and foremost. And my girl Sydney needs to go to the doctor, because something's not good, and I'm low-key scared for what's gonna happen with her regarding her health in the 3rd season, and they go back to filming in a month. She needs a doctor, he needs a therapist, they need to get themselves together. Obviously, I'm not saying, like, season 3 needs to start off with them together, happier than ever. I don't think anyone who is actually, like, rooting for them in terms of the show thinks that. A lot of people are just so, like, can't we have a show without romance? Like, can't we just have a workplace comedy without a stupid thing like romance? And I just think it's funny how that was never the energy with Claire Bear when she came in the show, but everyone has those feelings regarding, like, Sydney and Carmi. I think the 2nd season was definitely an indication of, like, Carmi needs to sort through himself. Clearly we see that he's not ready for a romantic relationship right now and how that affected him so much. But I still think that he loves Sid. And they're gonna kiss at some point. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. Did we not see the table scene? There's also this post on Tumblr that I saw. I'll put it on the screen. It basically talks about, like, how clocks, obviously the bear is a very, like, we don't have time, we got this many days to open, very stressed, hectic, time conscious, every second counts. And they point out just the lack of shots of, like, clocks and things when it comes to Sydney and Carmi. And I just think that's so beautiful. And also, once again, the table scene where it's like, even though that was the day of the opening for the restaurant, very stressful day, very hectic day, the fact that they got to have that, like, undisturbed moment and just the idea of, like, time resting when they're together. I just think it's so sweet, guys. I don't think it's a coincidence. I really think that they are endgame. And that's really all I have to say about it. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew my stance on the matter of Sydney and Carmi. And the last thing that I would like to talk about, just once again, I really want to see Io Debris in a rom-com. God, what did I just do? Is there something on my finger? Ugh. But I really want to see Io in a rom-com. I know Paul Mescal said that, like, he's trying to make it happen. And a lot of people's reaction to that was like, oh, so is he going to be gay? And, like, is she going to be gay? And then are they going to be, like, helping each other find other people to be with? Because for some reason they didn't automatically think that, like, she would be his love interest. Which is just so crazy. And I would like to see that. But I would like to throw the vote in of a rom-com starring Io Debris and Rami Youssef. Just feel like they'd have such good romantic chemistry on screen. I feel like I'd be giggling the whole time. I just think it could be, like, really funny. They're two extremely funny, like, people and writers, and that would be everything if they, like, got together and did a rom-com. Just let me, like, work on it, please. Please. And this is the final look. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below whatever you want. Subscribe if you want. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye!